Okay, we're going to talk about property tax and how a millage impacts your property tax. So, the first thing in getting your house appraised, so a company will come in and do an appraisal, and they will give you what's called a fair market value. So, in this scenario, we're going to say that our appraisal came in at $100,000. The first step is always to find the SEV. And the SEV is the state equalized value. And it's always going to be half of the fair market value. So right off the bat, we have a state equalized value of 50,000. And this is the number that you will get your property tax calculated off of. Okay. Then they convert that to a dollars per mil. So from the state equalized value, what they do is they divide that by 1,000. And that means we are going to pay $50 for every mill. And a mill is short for millage. Okay. Now up here, the county that I happen to live in has a millage of 19.16. So to calculate my tax bill, number 3, you take your dollars per mill and you multiply it by your millage, your tax bill, or your millage rate to get your overall tax bill, which comes out to be $958. Okay, so when they talk about you will start now that you are 18 and you start voting, you will have to vote on different millage elections. So they might say that you're going to have an election and they are going to add 2 mills for Delta College. What in this scenario 2 mills would do is that you're going to pay this $19.16 twice. So that's the impact it would have on this home up here. Okay, so let's take a look at this scenario. Now we have a fair market value of $120,000, and here's your present millage levy. So the major funding for schools comes through millages with property taxes. So the school operating mills is 18. County public transportation is 0.3 mills. Debt reduction, so that's just the government says we need to reduce our debt, so we're going to charge 6.75 mills. Delta College, we have a fire mill to support our fire district or our fire department. So in any one county, the first thing you do is you have to total that up. So you can see that this town has a lot higher millage rate than the previous example. Okay. So we are going to find the millage here. So the first step we do is we find half of the fair market value. That comes out to be 60,000. Then we divide that by 1,000 to get the dollars per mill. So it's going to be $60 per mill. And now to calculate our tax bill, we do $60 times our total mills of 29.5 to get 1,770. Okay, the next thing you need to be aware of is when you have a current, it says an upcoming election will have 3 proposals on the ballot. Your house has a fair market value of $170,000 with a current tax levy of 22.15. That means that's all the millages that are currently in place. So if proposal 1 passes, it's going to increase the debt reduction by 0.5 mils. So if this one passes, we have to add 0.5 to this number. Proposal 2 is just a renewal of 3.65 mils. Renewal means it's already in here. They just want to extend it. So if proposal 2 passes, we don't add 3.65 in here. We just keep it the same. But if proposal 2 doesn't pass, we would then decrease this by 3.65. And an additional 1.5 mils for police and fire protection. Additional means if it passes, we would add it on. Okay, so the first thing we do is we calculate our SEV by taking half of 170,000. Then we divide by 1,000 to get our price per mil. So we're going to pay $85 per mil. So we are currently paying 85 times our current tax bill of 22.15. So our current taxes are, I believe, I can't really read my writing, $882. I'll redo this. $0.75. Okay, so if all three proposals pass, how many mills will you pay now? Well, right now we're at 22.15 for our tax bill. And if they all pass, so if the first one passes, we need to add 0.5. If the second one passes, remember that just is staying the same. It's that 3.65 that's already in here, and an additional 1.5 for fire. So we are adding an additional $2 or 2 mills to our tax bill. So instead of 22.15, it would go up to 24.15. And that comes out to be $2,052.75. Okay, if all three proposals fail, how many mills will you pay? So we're currently here. If the first one fails, that just means we don't add the 0.5. If the second one fails, we have to take that 3.65 out of our regular where it was. And if this one fails, we just don't add that in. So we get a millage rate of 18.5. We multiply that by 85, and now our millage is at 1572.5. So if you take a look, the same house, you can see that our property taxes could fluctuate almost $500 based on millage elections. And the last one says if 1 and 3 pass but 2 fails, so that means if we add the 0.5, we add the 1.5. That means we're adding 2. But if this one fails, we're subtracting 3.65. So when I did that, I got an overall tax rate of 20.5. Because we are doing this, we're taking away this because that fails, and we are adding those two. That's how I got my 20.5. And that comes out to be $1,742.50. So around election time, you'll see all kinds of politicking for different millages and adding different fees on. And you can see that you'll want to be an informed voter to see how those millages are really going to impact your property taxes.